No one around me eats dessert like I do. Hey guys, welcome back to Kelli with an I. Today we're in my kitchen, my teeny tiny kitchen, and I wanted to try a new recipe. So if you see here, I have purchased the Pillsbury gluten-free yellow cake mix that I found at the store the other day. I was like, oh, gluten-free cake mix. Sometimes making cake when you're gluten sensitive is difficult because A, your gluten-free flour is really expensive, and B, sometimes you just don't want to put in that much effort. I bought this, so I wanted to bake it today and give it a shot. So I bought just the cake mix, and I'll be making my own frosting. The frosting that I'll be making is delicious. It's one of my most popular recipes known to date, and it's won many ribbons in the Oklahoma State Fair on different recipes, and I'll give you all the ingredients down below. So let's go ahead and get started with this cake mix. It's pretty simple. This box cake mix has all you need on the back and baking instructions. So I'm going to go ahead and preheat the oven to 350. I need to line the bottom of my cake pan with cooking spray. So today, because it's less than 2 months until I move to Georgia, I'm using a bundt pan because this is all I have. I had to actually go dig this out, just typical classic. You can find this at Walmart. So I'm going to go ahead and spray this. You'll want to use gluten-free cooking spray if you're that sensitive. I am not very sensitive to gluten. It just makes me tired and fatigued. I think maybe because it's just carbs, but I don't eat gluten right now. So I'm going to go ahead and use baking spray that has flour in it. So this much flour won't make me sick, but if you are sensitive, do not use this. Use gluten-free baking spray if you can find it, or just use oil, like oil baking spray. Okay, my cake pan is lined, so we're gonna set that to the side while we make the mix. For this cake mix, you're gonna need a cup of water, a third of a cup of oil, and 3 eggs. So in order to do that, all you gotta do is blend it all together at one time. I'm actually going to be doing this by hand today. I just don't want to get my hand mixer out, so call me lazy. Do it. Call me lazy. If you do have a hand mixer, then go ahead and use that. It'll help get all the lumps out. 1 cup of water, third of a cup of oil, and 3 eggs. Baker tip: crack the egg on a flat surface, not on the corner, and you will be more successful in not getting shells in your mixture. Okay, now you get your hand mixer or your whisk and just start whisking. On the back of the box it says that you use a hand mixer on medium speed for about 2 minutes. So go ahead and follow the directions. If you're doing it by hand, you're going to want to whisk this until it is smooth as a baby's bottom. Okay, now that your mixture is all mixy up, you're going to transfer it into your baking pans. So just going to spread it around evenly. Okay, now that my batter is all up in that pan, I'm going to tap it a few times on the counter. Bundt pans have a tendency to get air holes in them, or maybe I've just been really unlucky in years past. But I'm going to go ahead and tap it a few times just to make sure all the air bubbles come out. Okay. And now we're going to pop it in the oven for a bundt pan. It's about 39 to 43 minutes as per the instructions. I'm going to put it in for 40 minutes, and then when the timer's up, we'll check to see if it's done and bake it longer if we need to. Okay, now while our cake is in the oven, we're going to go ahead and make the frosting. I kind of like to let it set out a little bit. The cakes are like cooking and cooling and stuff because it allows it to soften up a little bit. So I've got my stand mixer here. If you don't have a stand mixer, that's totally fine. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to toss in the butter. Now I have the the whisk attachment instead of your typical paddle attachment, and the reason is there's a lot of ingredients in here and it can get kind of thick. So I like this better because it helps whip things and make it light and fluffy. Most buttercreams though and frostings, I use a paddle attachment. Now this is like any other frosting recipe except this is dairy free. I know, I'm excited. So I've got butter here. This is not real butter. This is an olive oil and sunflower oil butter mixture. It's by, I believe, Earth Balance. So I'm going to use this oil-based butter. I'm going to pop it in here and whip it until it is light and fluffy. Okay, now that the butter has been whipped and it is a very pale color, with I call it fake butter, but whatever. With fake butter, you don't want to whip it for too long because it doesn't have the same kind of chemical compound as real butter, so it will get a lot softer. Okay, next what we're gonna do is we're gonna sift in half of the powdered sugar and half of the cocoa powders. I'm just gonna do this. This is a sieve or a sifter. I'm gonna just do half of my powdered sugar and then half of my cocoa powder. And I am using Hershey's Naturally Unsweetened. I don't think there's any other kind of powdered cocoa in this area of the world. There might be, but this is what I always buy. I'm gonna get a spoon and we're just gonna slowly sift it in. All right, so we're gonna pop the whisk attachment on and let this mix together on slow first so you don't get powdered sugar everywhere. Now we're gonna let this mix until it's fully incorporated, and then we're gonna add half of the milk, and then we're gonna do it again. Okay, it's about half incorporated. I'm seeing a nice development of frosting here, so I'm gonna go ahead and add in my milk to help combine everything together. This is a very thick frosting when you're making it. That's why I like to set it out to let it kind of settle. So we're gonna go ahead and add milk. This is almond milk. I would recommend a very unflavorful milk substitute. So I'm gonna go ahead and add half of this, and we're gonna turn it on very low again and let it mix. Okay, so that's been fully incorporated. I'm gonna go ahead and add the next half of my powdered sugar and cocoa mixture. All right, I sifted the rest of the powdered sugar and the cocoa powder in here. We're gonna let it mix again. And for now, I'm gonna hold off on adding the next half of this milk because I think we're at a pretty good consistency. The great thing about frostings is that if it's too runny or too thick, you can add milk or powdered sugar to help balance it, bring it back to a stable frosting. I'm gonna go ahead and wait and see what this looks like, but after this is done mixing, we'll add in the vanilla. Cocoa powder and powdered sugar have been mixed in, so I'm gonna go ahead and add in the vanilla, and then we're gonna go from there. Okay, so I've gone ahead and added everything in. I am liking how it's looking. Let's give it a little taste. Okay, that is super chocolate. I'm such chocolate. This is super chocolatey, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of powdered sugar and milk to this. I want a little bit more frosting, but I don't want such a chocolatey flavor. The great thing about frostings is that you can kind of mess with the ingredients to make it taste the way you want to. I'm not gonna measure this because I can kind of tell how much I'm putting in there. I've made a lot of cakes in my time. Okay, almost messed up. Almost just was gonna toss in the powdered sugar and not sift it. But please, with this one recipe, just listen to me when I say you need to sift anything that's dry that goes in here. If you don't sift powdered sugar and cocoa powder into this and you just throw it in there, it's gonna get clumpy and it's not gonna look as smooth and pretty. So I'm gonna go ahead and toss in 3/4 of a cup. I kinda know how much I'm measuring because I make a lot of cake. Y'all, this yellow cake smells so good. I love yellow cake. It's really hard for me to make. I have one recipe that I have had succeed in my kitchen for a yellow cake, and it was so good. But it's so hard to make. It's just a pain in the butt. Powdered sugar sifted in. Let's go ahead and mix it up. Okay, this is pretty well incorporated. I'm gonna go ahead and add half of this. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be adding about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half. So let's give it a shot. I'm gonna go ahead and scrape down the bowl, make sure all the powdered sugar and chunks have been incorporated, and then we're gonna set this to the side. We're gonna let the cake finish baking. It's got about 15 minutes, and then we're gonna let it cool for quite a while before we frost it. And then I will come back to you guys with the assembly instructions. Okay? Okay guys, cake's out of the oven and it turned out beautiful. I am super happy with how it looks. No rips or tears. The frosting has been sitting out for quite a while, so it should be settled quite well, quite nicely. I have a mini spatula and a mini spatula, a silicone spatula that I'm going to help scrape the frosting out of the bowl with. I'm going to use a small spatula to help spread the icing. I filmed, I thought, me decorating the cake, and it's probably for the best because I didn't like how it started. I say decorating. I just use sprinkles. I used a Jimmy mixture that I've had for quite a while. So this is what it looks like. It is so cute and it smells amazing. So let's go ahead and try a bit. And at this point, I'm not, yeah, we're just gonna chat and chill and stuff and things. Look at it. It looks really good. It looks like, I mean, it looks really nice. So time for the ultimate test. This is the whole point of the video. Also just to, you know, do a cake baking video because I just love baking so much. So here we go. I am really impressed. This tastes almost just like the normal one, like normal yellow cake mix, which is impressive to me when people can make gluten-free taste almost normal. I think, if I remember correctly, I haven't had boxed yellow cake mix in a while. What was I saying? Oh, so I haven't had yellow box cake mix in quite a while. If I were to compare the two from my memories and from just classic yellow cakes from restaurants and stuff, this is a little bit more dense, but I love dense cake, like carrot cake and spice cakes and like fudgy chocolate cakes. Like I love super moist, super dense cakes. So that's what this tastes like. It's a little bit dense. The 3 eggs give it moisture and density, and I'm okay with that. I thought it was quite good. So I'm going to eat the rest of my slice and probably the rest of the cake because no one around me eats dessert like I do. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial slash bake with me slash taste test video. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy getting to try a new food item that I normally don't get to try. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and you want to see more, give it a like. That way I know that people like things like this. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.